Well, when it comes to the Nigerian markets, we're looking at a market that's made a dramatic recovery, recovering all of 2009's losses so far, with most stock prices still sitting at the top of 2007 territory. So in this context, how are you playing the markets right now?
Well, the key word is caution, and I'll say why. A good number of stocks for 2010 are approaching their fair values already. Roughly half of them are actually over their fair value, looking at 2010 projections only. So the issue here is, do you play fundamentally or do you play based on momentum? We're looking at fundamentals. On that basis, there are not too many pickings left. So it's more of 80% fundamentals, 10% momentum, and about 10% technical analysis.
If we look at it from a fundamental perspective here, some say that you could well be missing out on some opportunity, though, if you don't act now. And if we get specific, we've seen some interest, especially in the stocks in the real sector of the economy, the beneficiaries of debt capital to be rather raised by some top-tier banks. What ranks as a top pick for you out of the few that you've managed to spot?
Oh, at this particular time as of today, that's a little bit tough because if you look at Julius Berger, as far as we're concerned, for 2010 is already overvalued. Costain is overvalued already. So how many do we have left in terms of that? Let's go to conglomerates. Conglomerates, PZ is close to fair value. There's not little much left there. UAC is tricky, but right now we'll say it's a little bit overvalued. So as much as they do have potential going forward, for 2010, they've already crossed their limits.
Taking a look at things then, are you saying that you're holding or you're sitting on cash in the current environment more so than investing in the equity space?
No, there are a couple of good stocks in insurance firms. If you notice, this year so far, the insurance firms actually had a downturn. They were not moving up when other sectors were actually moving up. Now they're rebounding. So a couple of insurance firms, they are doing pretty good. For the banking space, there's really nothing left there. The GTs and the Zenith banks have basically crossed their limits for this year also, so far, given our projections. So it's really looking at food and beverages. Yes, there's a lot of value there, but that's quickly eroding. But NACO, Air Services, still has value left. AG Leventis, Conglomerate still has value left. So there are a couple, but they're not as many as people think that they are. That's very key.
Let's hone in on those insurance stocks, because we know for that a long while these insurance players were hard hit, given the fact that they relied heavily on investment income. And with the equity downturn that occurred, a lot of them got beaten quite hard. Are we seeing more of a shift when it comes to these insurance players and their strategy to their core business, that of underwriting?
I think they'll still do both. They'll still do underwriting and they'll still invest in the stock market. But I think they'll be more cautious going forward in terms of playing the stock market. But they will not rule it out, because that's the way they can hedge their risk by trying to make money in the market. That's worldwide strategy. So that will not change. But going forward, I think they want the government to assist them in making certain insurance compulsory, like housing, like fire insurance, life insurance for employees of the government. Those are the areas they're looking at to boost their revenue, their premium, sorry.
Well, that interesting playing field, certainly. This at a time where banks are still in the spotlight. We saw First Bank of Nigeria today releasing corporate action for the full year 2009. A final dividend of 10 kobo was proposed. The company also declared a bonus of 1 share for every 8 shares held. What did you make of that announcement today? Because the market certainly didn't react too positively to that news.
There's a recent trend in which companies that will not have, let's use this word, palatable results, tend to preempt those bad results, or what I say, unimpressive results, by releasing corporate actions. So like trying to appease investors. It's not going to work for the most part, and definitely not for the banks. So maybe by next week or by end of this week, they release the result, which will not be impressive. What we're trying to see right now is whether the bank, like last year, was going to issue dividend in excess of their earnings. It happened last year. This year, we're not sure yet. That's very, very key.